Alright, what's going on today, chat? We got a pretty big collection to go through today. Picked this up over the weekend, so just getting that ready. So the goal for today is to see whether or not any of the cards that I picked up are worthy of getting graded or not. So we have a little bit to go through. I think we have about 20 or so cards to go through, so just getting the gloves ready here. Guess we'll put a little, so you guys can, if you've never seen the microscope before, it's what it looks like. So welcome in as I put my gloves on. Turtle, welcome. Welcome in, welcome in. Sunflower, welcome. We'll turn on the overhead light for you too. There you go. Now you guys can really see what we're going to be looking at today. Hope you guys are having a good Monday. Like I said, just getting ready to look at some cards to see if they are worthy of grading. I picked up this collection over the weekend, so we're going to see how well we do here. And so just got to get my little station set up here. There we go. Perfect. All right. So we got a lot of modern, a lot of good chases. We got pretty lucky with this one, I'm not gonna lie. With how crazy Pokemon is, I definitely am fortunate to have this one for sure. Frankie, welcome. So we're just gonna get right into it. So we had a lot of cards to look at through this collection today. So we had a lot of pretty notable hits that were all picked up from a collection that they were getting out of the hobby, more or less. I've been picking up a lot of the cards from them over the last probably 2 to 3 months, and it seems like this is the last bit of their collection. So we got a lot of really good looking cards here. So Altaria, got Pikachu, Tyranitar V, Dragonite V from Evolving Skies. Very interested in seeing that. Copycat, Eevee, the Mew EX promo weirdly going up in price. Pikachu, Mewtwo, Magikarp from Paldean, Gardevoir EX from Paldean, Guzma. We got some Sun and Moon, Ghastly, that's been going up. This was pretty cool. The Leaf Energy from Pokemon Play. Mightyena from, I think this was Sandstorm. Silvally GX, Mimikyu, Meowth Game Boy promo, Radiant Eevee from Pokemon Go, Mew, Raichu, and last but not least, a Shining Mew. So basically we're going to be going through all these cards to see if there are any that are worth getting graded. Most of them were assessed as near mint or better. And so we're going to see. We're going to see how well we did. So I have to kind of go through these anyway. So I figured I'd be streaming the experience here. So let's see. Let's check out this Tyranitar V. So welcome in, guys. So let's see. So this one, I don't even really need my ruler here, but the right side is a bit thicker than the left. So this probably wouldn't be grade worthy, but it is still considered near mint. So we're just going to see if there's any little bits of whitening or anything like that to kind of remove from the card. So we're going to do that right now. And I already saw some, so we're going to just basically just kind of clean it up as much as we can. And when I mean clean, I mean just remove like any white bits of fuzz or dust or debris, anything like that stuck on there. Apple, how's it going? So, and I'm not even really going to even need to dip the Q-tip anything. Most of the stuff's just kind of stuck on there, so what is up? Yeah, Tyranitar's been going up there. Mrs. J, thanks for sharing the live. And anyone liking and sharing, appreciate you guys as always. And I do this as a small business, so if you guys have any questions or anything like that, please let me know. And again, I appreciate all the shares and follows and all that fun stuff. Helps me kind of reach out to collectors like you. What am I doing exactly? Currently, I picked up a collection over the weekend. And first, I'm trying to see if there's anything that needs to be done for the card. If there's anything stuck onto the card that I can remove or clean off. This card in particular, this Tyranitar, is not... I'm probably not going to grade it because it's not going to get the 10 because of how thick the top border and the right side is. So it'd probably get like a 9, probably even an 8, just judging off of the centering alone. So, for example, one of the things I am now doing is just kind of seeing if there's anything stuck onto the card that we can just simply remove with some of these cleaning techniques that I've done on stream before. So, like, for example, you kind of see in the top little window here, you see a little bit of a fuzzy. And let's see if we can remove it. Yeah, right? Isaiah, it's pretty much just like a Snorlax. So we're just going to see if we can get that off. And of course, we were able to quickly get that off. Sometimes these little cardstock little bits kind of get stuck onto the card. So just try to remove that. It doesn't really need to be there if we can help it. And so I just kind of do my due diligence of this stuff. Anytime I get a collection of, you know, kind of higher value singles, I just try to make sure that I'm going through. Hello, I have a binder for sale, interested in buying. How can I show you? Yeah, for sure, Matt. If you just want to shoot me a message on probably Discord or TikTok, whatever is easier for you. Discord's probably a little bit easier because you can also share your pictures that way. That Discord link is in the bio in my link tree. But yes, for sure, I am buying all the time. But yeah, definitely let me know. But this one actually needs a... So normally what I also like to do for cards that are higher up there in terms of chase cards, I like to put them in, obviously top loaders, but I like to put them in pull tab sleeves, because in most cases what people like to do, let's see, is they like to take it out to kind of look at the condition. Austin over on YouTube, when I get a magnifying glass, how big should the magnification be when looking for scratches and whatnot? I would say, I forget what magnification this is. I don't know if it's like 220x or whatnot. If you want my like exact model, in my link tree, I do have it linked. As well as, since you're on YouTube, it's in my description as well. So you can kind of take a look at exactly the model I use, which will then tell you the magnification. Let's see. I sent pictures through the Microsoft forums. Oh, okay. That works too, Matt. Yeah, there's multiple different ways, because it's always... I don't really know where people kind of come in from, too. So I'll definitely hit that up for sure. I appreciate it, Matt. I must have a lot of those since PSA quit wanting those. Oh, yeah, the pull tab ones? Yeah, I do. But they're nice, though. They're still nice in the sense that, like, if I have this in my showcase... And someone, because they always want to take a look at it, right? And like look at the front and the back. So this is just easier instead of having their fingers go in it. So I still, luckily, I'm still able to repurpose them, because I was very fearful of that exact same reason, Apple, for sure. Awesome, Matt. Thank you. Watched someone else clean cards last night. Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very interesting... it's definitely an interesting... kind of niche within kind of the collecting community. And it is also nice too, just to kind of see what you can improve on a card, because these cards are exploding in price, and it's, you know, love it or hate it, this stuff is sought after. So what are you planning, what shows are you planning on going to this year? So in New York, I was invited to a show, actually, not too long ago, in the Albany area. So I'll be going there on February 16th, which should be a Sunday. And I don't even know all the information myself, because they said that they wait for like a week or something like that. But yeah, I have that coming up. Why did PSA quit wanting those, and what about post-it tabs? So in their in their terms of service, they specifically say that they don't want anything with pull tabs or sticky notes. My guess is that they, like, it's just how they probably process them. It's probably just easier for them to not have that, or probably through their processing stations. I really have no idea. But basically, they won't allow it anymore. So just by kind of quick eyeball, the centering of this Pikachu on the front actually looks pretty good. So far so good on that. So let's see on the back. And the back actually looks pretty decent. It's probably a little bit thicker on that, on this right side than compared to the left. And there's a little bit of a white speck, but I don't know if it's something we can or can't remove, but we'll see. So right here, it looks like that's got one right there, but there's still a little bit that doesn't look like it's actually anything that we can remove per se. So probably, but I don't know, that might be a long shot, but we'll actually bust out the tool here. It's a little bit, normally I use a ruler, but it might be a little bit easier to show you guys on the magnifier here. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll see if, since it is made out of plastic, we'll see if it reflects weirdly or not. But so I've seen it on a few videos. You guys have probably seen it from mine. It's these centering tools. I'll actually take it out of the top loader I keep it in, so it's a centering tool that we can kind of keep. I haven't used this thing in forever, and there's a bunch of dust on it. But let me shake that off real quick. So basically, with the centering tool, what I kind of do, because all are made differently if you do decide to use a centering tool. But for me, on this one, on the left side, we're just shy of that dash line, so we're kind of like 1 and 1.75 if you were to kind of loosely give it a number. And then all I do is just do the same thing on the other side. Is just put the right side right up against the edge here. And if I can see it, I'm trying to like look at it through my phone here. There we go. So on this, you can kind of see that it's a little bit closer to the dash than what it was on the right side. That's probably the best angle you guys are going to get. So you kind of see that on the right side, it is touching that dotted edge. But then this side, it's not so much touching the dotted edge. That kind of shows you that it's a little off center from the left to the right. But I think it's still within that range. So I think we should be good there. But if you've never seen a centering tool, that's what it does. And normally I don't use it, to be quite honest with you, because I'll use like a transparent millimeter ruler. But for stream, it makes it a little bit easier to kind of show you guys what I mean when I'm talking about centering, because some people don't really know how to really measure centering and whatnot. So, but this one there's really not a lot of. So if I'm kind of talking out loud here, so there's not a lot of. That's on the reflection of the sleeve, but there's not a lot of whitening at all. So there's not like the whitened corners, and pretty much any scratches you'll probably see is going to be on the sleeve, but and like all this stuff's probably on there, but yeah, corners were pretty good. Of course, like all that like fuzz stuff is like stuck to the sleeve I just put it in. Let me just see those bottom two little specks. I might have missed that, but we'll see if we can remove those. Nope. Those are on there. So this probably wouldn't... But who knows? I don't think it would, because it has the 1, 2, 3 dots on the back that you can't remove. But pretty well centered. Pretty good looking card. And I need my... I literally just had them and I put them away for whatever reason. There we go. Okay, if you guys are liking what you're seeing, it definitely does mean a lot if you do like and share the live. At the end of the day, all I'm really doing is just kind of showing you guys the behind the scenes of what I do as a small business for this stuff. So if you guys have any questions about how crazy the market is, or how to navigate through these trying times, or what to look for, or certain things to look for when you're out and about, that's ultimately what I focus on my streams. You know, I don't really solicit or sell you guys anything unless you explicitly ask, like, what I do offer. But for the most part, I just like to do this, hang out with you guys, try to answer as many questions as I can. So I definitely appreciate all the love and support, both on YouTube and TikTok, wherever you're watching me from tonight. So this one's probably like right on the nose between 9 and a 10. So sometimes it's kind of nice too, to be quite honest with you, to have cards that are kind of on that edge between a 9 and a 10. This one I don't think would get the 10 in my opinion because of those 3 dots. We got 1, 2, 3, but I think they're light enough to where it's probably a long shot 10. So, you know, if someone saw this in a booth and, you know, wanted their shot at getting a 10, I'd say go for it. And so it's nice too to have that reputation too of like, oh wow, he actually has like cards that are, you know, grade worthy, I guess. So it's not always a bad thing to have cards that are high quality to be potentially gradable. So not a bad thing. Do you have my mystery boxes still? Oh, do I have mystery boxes? I don't know why I had like spacing dyslexia there for a second, Apple. Yes, I do. I have mystery boxes and mystery crates. The crates come with a free t-shirt, which is kind of cool. I just got done making some hoodies, which is super sick. Rod over here, what's going on? It was a fun attempt at making some hoodies because I wanted one and whatnot. So, yo, what's going on, Gel? All right, next up we got the Altaria. So let's see if this bad boy is grade worthy. So probably not. A little bit thicker on this top part, just by eyeballing it. If anyone needs me to kind of look at it under the microscope, but it's a little bit top heavy. There's a little bit of some mild indentations on the top and some whitening on kind of that top left corner and the bottom right. You guys see that right there. Let's see. What's the queue now? Are you talking about for grade review? Grade review is on Wednesday, and I haven't made the official schedule yet. But more or less, if you look through the queue and just kind of see who has the last like green check mark, anyone underneath there is going to be like closest to that is going to be up next. Def recommend him look at those cards. A few of mine, it came back. Oh right, Austin, that's so funny. That's so cool though. I appreciate the kind words, Austin. What shows are you planning on? I mentioned that already. Do I have a show this weekend? No, I do have a show in Albany on February 16th. I think it's a Sunday. So luckily I was able to pick up this collection with some pretty big hitters. So my inventory is definitely getting a little bit big. So I need to start selling some stuff because a lot of my funds for purchasing collections are dwindling, and I need to kind of keep that cycle going. So gotta start selling some stuff. But super excited. I'm actually you still have a 151 Zard? I do. I have 2 of them. I have Dose. And I haven't updated it on my website, so if anyone wants to get a good deal on a Charizard EX from 151, I have not updated it on my website, and I am going to honor the price, because I'll probably be updating that probably today or tomorrow. Because I do this as a part-time, and I can't always update prices every time they go crazy, so... I know, Keith. They're going nuts. Those Zards are going crazy. But that's I mean, that's like for everything in Pokemon right now. Everything's just going insane. But all right, next up, Shining Mew. Hopefully this one looked pretty good, but I don't think. Let's see. A little thick on that left side compared to the right, just by eyeballing it. But pretty clean. Clean surface. And on the back's kind of the same thing. Again, it was like thicker on the left side here. And then if we flip it over, I kind of talk about this during grade review, is that it transfers a little bit to the back as well. But there's some stuff we can probably get rid of here. Just need it for the master set. Oh, nice. I know, and I'm like, I'm really fearing to try to get the master set for Team Rocket, man. That new Team Rocket set coming out. Like, I really want to. Genuinely, I want to. But with how crazy things have been getting, it's hard, man. It's disheartening a little bit, to be quite honest with you. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why this person decided to sell these cards. Is because they blatantly told me, like, they just can't, they didn't even have a chance to see the prismatic stuff. And it's like, they're just over it, to be quite honest with you. And that's why they ultimately wanted to sell these really nice cards. Because it's just becoming too much. Truthfully, it's just becoming too much for some folks. And I get it. It's really disheartening to want to be just a collector and have to fight people over it. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, Egg, for sure. Can see how the cards are, and I might go for that. Yeah. Hopefully they secure some pre-order. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, man, why does everyone have to like do pre-orders? And it's like, it's just crazy. They just need to do something. They need to figure it out. I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna pretend to know what the right solution is, but they need to do something. Because they obviously have a demand, and it's just print to demand at this point. I don't know. I'm kind of running out of options to give them excuses. Hey, we just broke 1K likes over on TikTok. I appreciate you guys. With all the craziness, I've transitioned just to collecting Japanese. They are cheaper, and I'm in it. That's kind of the interesting thing, right, Austin? Like, at the end of the day, like, if you're just trying to collect for the artwork, like, it just doesn't really matter, right? Like, if you're kind of doing it that way, which, like, it's kind of odd too, because like, you don't like, it's not like you read the attack, right? You don't like read the attack. You know what the name of the card is, right? You know what this is, like a Mew, and just because it's not in English doesn't mean you don't know that it's a Mew, right? And it's like, I'm not like collecting it to read, you know, what Legendary Guidance does. It's like, do I really care? That's why I personally, like, when I collect graded stuff for my personal collection, I just stick with nines, to be honest with you. Because like, in my head, because like, I have a PC for vintage stuff, so I just did like the Gen 1 decks as my kind of one of my personal collections. And in my head, it's like, you know, if a card can get a PSA 9, you know, from being made 25 years ago, I still think that's impressive. So that's what I kind of stick with. And you can buy way more bang for your buck, in my opinion. So it's kind of like, why not? Why not get the 9? But I mean, I get it though. That's what's nice about the hobby at the end of the day, is everyone has what they like to collect. And that's what makes it great. So, John, thanks for the likes. Appreciate you. And again, I do appreciate all the likes and shares and new followers over on TikTok and YouTube. Definitely helps me out with the almighty algorithm. So if you like what you see, I definitely appreciate any of those. And there's another one been going up. These the IRs have been seeing a pretty interesting uptick in popularity with everyone trying to find out what the next big card is going to be. But the Raichu floating above the bed. But pretty clean for this one so far. So let's take a look at the back. There's a little bit of dirt on that right edge, so we'll try to get rid of that real quick. Or something. Not too sure what it is, but we're gonna find out. Right here. Just like that, chat. That one's a classic example of, if you ever think about trying to grade your cards, all this little, like, these little white specks that I just was able to remove, if those stay on there and PSA sees them, then they would go against you in terms of the surface score. So it's always good, it's always worthwhile to kind of double check and look at your cards to see if there's anything stuck to them or anything like that. So highly recommend it. Ben, what's going on? Welcome. A little bit of whitening on this edge, so right there. But it's so funny because it comes up huge, right, on the microscope. But when we kind of take a look at it from just a standard eye view, you barely can even see it. Is that a dry Q-tip, or do you put anything on it? So I use distilled water. So anytime I'd say in most cases when I do use this Q-tip, it is dipped in distilled water, and I wring it out by rolling it around on a microfiber cloth to the right of me. And I would say, to kind of gauge like how moist the Q-tip should be, it really should only be like 5% moist. You know, it really shouldn't be leaving any moisture behind on the card after you kind of run across it. So that's a little bit of whitening on that back right side. And then for the front, I'm just trying to see. You guys might not see what I'm trying to look for, but basically I'm just trying to like overexpose the card by seeing it. And there's a little bit of a very slight ding there on the top. I don't even know if the microscope can pick it up, but it's right. If I can show it real quick. It's a little bit right there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but probably not. Just again, and the other thing too, with how backlogged PSA is right now, sometimes, you know, if it's so kind of on the fence, like these things are going to be, because they're so behind with their orders right now, that you're not going to be seeing your cards for quite some time, unfortunately. Quick question, are you able to clean old pen marks without damaging? Pen marks is a little bit tough. Like, I have had cards that have had some pen marks, but depending on how long the ink has been on the card and all that stuff, like, it's not guaranteed that all of it will be removed. You know, you'll probably remove some more of, like, the top layer, but I think with what you would want, you're probably looking more for the entire part of the ink to be removed, and I don't think that's possible, depending on how severe the ink is. To be honest with you. The Sleeping Mew. Oh man, found some childhood cards from Skyridge era and a couple marks. Man, I feel that. I feel like that's very common. It's like most of the pen marks just came from like as a kid's personal collection. Because for whatever reason you wanted to draw on your Crystal Lugia or your Crystal Zard. Because you're like, why not? And there's a little bit of whitening on that top left corner, as well as that top right. And bottom left. So when I'm talking about, there's 3 points of whitening, so you can really see it on the microscope here. So that whitening on the top left, got whitening on the top right, and then zoop, if I kind of flip it around here, Kind of see some mild whitening on that part. So 3 points of whitening. Probably get the 9, but most likely not the 10. So we'll just put that. I don't think that's going to be... Because normally if a card is over 50, I'll put it in a pull tab. So far I don't think that is over. Just based off what I remember last time, I don't think it is. But yeah, the pen marks are always rough. The other card that I see a lot of pen marks on are birthday Pikachus. Because kids were encouraged. You know, they're like, how are you not going to tell a kid to not put their name in the line on their birthday Pikachu that says, put your name here? You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? Kids, of course a kid's going to do that. Of course a child is going to write their name where it says, because then it's their Pikachu. That's why I think, personally, that's probably one of my favorite, like, WotC era cards. How many hours a week do you go through your cards to sort or grade? I would say mostly, I would probably say I do most of it on stream because it's so boring to do by myself, to be honest. It's just kind of cool to like share with you guys and just like talk to someone on kind of what I'm doing. And it kind of helps me pay attention to what I'm doing instead of just like listening to like Queso or Jinxie and yelling at their microphone. So I probably like on average like per week, like just doing what you're seeing right now, probably like 1 or 2 hours a week. But then I'm also like updating my inventory, updating prices as much as I can in my inventory, and then updating the online store. I do a bunch of crazy stuff. My microscope is currently unavailable on Amazon. Dang, everyone buying it out. Good thing they took away my affiliate code. Are these personal cards, or do you offer this as a service? So I do both. So what you're seeing right now is from a collection that I purchased this weekend. And I also do this as a service as well, basically what you're seeing. Actually, about a week or two ago, I just finished my first cleaning submission that a community member has submitted their cards through me to get cleaned, and we just finished that. I actually have all the VODs and stuff on my YouTube channel if you want to take a look at that, just to familiarize yourself. But this card is probably not going to be grading because it is very off-center from the top to the bottom. Probably like an 8, to be honest, because of how bad the centering is. So you can kind of see on the microscope like how thick that top part is, and then if we flip it around town, it is very thin on that bottom. So it is a chunky top. Yeah, I definitely have some openings, yo. The best way to kind of look at all the different options, I have some options for folks who just want their cards simply like clean from like a basic perspective. But then I also have all the way up to premium, which I use more advanced techniques. Like I use a humidor, I use presses, because those, like normally when a card has to go through like a humidor, it takes a lot more time and a lot more sessions. So it's like spans across multiple days just for like 1 or 2 cards at a time. But there's also some more like in the middle of the road stuff. So you can check that out on my website, which you're seeing on stream right now, right below where my camera is. So if you go to galaxiagamingtcg.com and under support, there is a card cleaning service tab or card cleaning tab. Just click that and you'll see all the different tiers that you can submit through. Anytime, yo. If you have any other questions too, because basically everything that you're seeing is what I would be doing in the basic tier. So like in the advanced tier, I would actually be putting like what I would assess the grade as with a label maker. But for right now, I'm not doing that. So here's a cool one. So this was, if you guys have ever seen this, so this was actually a sealed Meowth from the Game Boy promo, which is super cool. So I'm reluctant to open it because there is, that looks like it's on the sleeve, but judging by the centering, it probably wouldn't get the 10 because this card, you know, oddly enough, is not that rare. because these were printed as promos. So you can kind of see, even without me opening it, there's a little bit of whitening on, and I don't even know if this will show up because it's so shimmery. There's a little bit of whitening right at the tip of my finger. I don't know if you guys can see that on stream or not in the microscope section. I'm really trying to make sure there's a little bit of whitening up there. There's some gross dirt or something on that flap, and a little bit of whitening up here on that top part. So I probably wouldn't. I probably would just keep this sealed, to be quite honest with you, and just sell it as is if someone wants to have it sealed and whatnot. So with these ones, with the sealed stuff, I actually put them in the semi-rigid because it's a little bit, obviously the card itself is going to be thicker because it's in a cello pack. If you guys have never known what the name of a card in this is, called a cello pack, so C-E-L-L-O. I didn't know that for a while, so that's why I'm saying it. So yeah, I just kind of keep it in one of these, and then just kind of sell it as is like that. So that's what I do for that. Oh, awesome, yo. Yeah, definitely just submit a... Oh, I appreciate that, yo. Thank you so much for the good vibes. And the follow. Thank you so much. Yeah, so just all you got to do, it's pretty simple. Just as long as you kind of give me like a general list. I try to more or less making it like PSA. And so you basically just tell me how many cards you have. It doesn't really matter the names or whatever, and just their general declared value. And then once I do that, I'll send you a contract basically saying, you know, like at the end of the day, like I do this as a side business, but there's always risks involved with everything, right? So it's more of just having you understand, as long as you understand the risks involved, but you're basically seeing everything that I'm doing. Like I wear gloves, I do this all on equipment or whatever. That's pretty much all you'd be doing. It's just kind of signing some contracts, making sure you understand where I'm coming from, so it's completely transparent from start to finish. Yeah. And then I send you a quote, and then once you accept the quote and you pay, and it's pretty much it. And I get to see your cards get cleaned on stream. So everything's documented. I do high resolution scans of all your cards. It's really, so far it's been very, very good, easy process in my opinion. So I appreciate it. Appreciate the good vibes. We got a little bit of, as I was yapping, I got a little bit of dirt here on the back. So where do I send a message again? So if you're talking about, the card cleaning specifically, there should be a submit form towards the bottom. All you have to do is just fill that form out, and it will send me a message saying that, hey, someone has submitted a form. And that's pretty much it. But just note in the form specifically, I think for the premium tier, it is a 3-card minimum. So just keep that in mind. And then I think basic and advanced is a 5-card minimum. But just in case if you didn't see that, I don't want to disappoint. Anytime, yo. Again, I appreciate all the likes, guys. If you don't mind helping me out, spreading some love by liking or sharing or following the live or subscribing if you're watching me on YouTube. I definitely appreciate it very much. And I don't know if that is something stuck on there. Or just, it looks like... So normally what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of brushing the dry end of the Q-tip across that little white dot that you can kind of see on stream. And normally, if it is something that is stuck on there, you'll feel it almost raised. You'll feel kind of it slightly getting stuck. But since I don't feel anything, that tells me that it's more of ink being removed from the actual card. And something that we cannot remove. And some people ask me too, like, hey, can you fill that in? And technically you could, but everything that I do, as a reminder, is compliant with grading in general. So I don't do all the things that you're seeing me do on stream is not considered an alteration, because I'm addressing things that are added onto the card, like dirt, dust, debris, fingerprints, stuff like that. Whereas using things like chemicals or wax or filler, like a marker or a pen, is doing things that are adding to a card to improve the condition, which is considered alteration. So everything that I'm doing is kind of within that space. So just in case if anyone was wondering about that specifically. I always like to kind of make that disclaimer. So, in your history of selling, is it easy to sell master sets at a card show versus slabs versus ungraded singles? So I would say at shows, it's kind of a mixture. So some of the shows that I've been going to, you know, it's really just based off of the economy, to be quite honest with you. Because I would say in most cases, like, I think the highest cards that I sell that do not include trade-ins to reduce the price, probably the highest has probably been like 300, to be honest. But as the higher you kind of get with more of your cards, the more instances that people are going to trade what they have to reduce the price of that card. So that's why, for me, it's nice to have a wide range of stuff, including some of the higher end stuff that are, you know, that's like 500 plus, because it incentivizes folks to trade in to build my inventory while they have the opportunity to reduce the price of a card, so that they can buy one. So that's normally what happens, to be quite honest with you. And then in terms of a master set, I have had more people buy singles for their own master set that they're collecting versus straight up building a master set and then selling it as a large collection. Because again, the price point is going to be naturally higher, like the sticker price for the master set. And some people just simply want to kind of pick up a few cards here and there to like slowly build their master set. So I have never, just based off of my experiences at shows, I tend to stay away from master sets, because it's a lot of time to kind of build them, and to sell all at once versus selling them individually or as pieces. But again, that's really from my experience, because I've seen and heard of people buying master sets too, but I just don't see them often. And nor have I ever had anyone ask me, like, hey, do you have a master set of, you know, Surging Spark or 151? Or people like to kind of hunt for the singles to build what they already have going towards their master set. So there you go. There's my, as always, my long-winded explanation to your question. Things never change around here, Apple. All right, so the OG trainer, like, full arts here. The Silvally. It actually looks pretty well centered on the front just by eyeballing it. So again, for this one specifically, we're really kind of looking at just the silver edge here. And so the top, bottom, left, and right look pretty good. So, and then kind of just doing a quick kind of shimmer test. It's going to basically look like I'm flashbanging you guys because it's going to be so bright, but the back looks pretty good too. I'm not going to lie. Maybe there's a little bit of dust on the top there, but there's not a lot of whitening on the corners. I mean, there's a little bit of some scuff marks here, unfortunately, but and that is unfortunately not going away. So probably not, but it is it's pretty good. Another question, with GameStop now taking in cards for grading, better to deal directly with PSA or GameStop, I bet is what you're trying to say towards the end there. I would say GameStop for submitting cards has been looking more and more reasonable when compared to PSA. I think that if you are just a standard collector who may submit, you know, 5 cards at a time or anything like that, I think GameStop is now an excellent opportunity. And if you feel uncomfortable submitting cards on your own, I think having them act as a middleman service is pretty unique from an accessibility perspective. You know, because a lot of places do have GameStops for folks to go to. A lot of them are kind of going under. So you're going to have to kind of consider that as well. Like, I've had a bunch in my area start to close. So you kind of have to kind of keep that in mind as well. But I'd say overall, their prices currently are cheaper than PSA directly, which I find very interesting, through like their bulk submission deal. So I think it's great. If you're submitting, you know, less than 10 cards, I think it's a really good service, in my opinion. So far, none of these have been... So really what I'm looking for the modern stuff, and I've said this a few times when doing grade review, and if you guys are new here, what I mean by grade review is every Wednesday I'll review community members' cards for free from our Discord to assess their potential PSA grade. And normally with modern, I say PSA 10 or bust, and pretty much that's no exception here. But now we're kind of getting into that older era, 2003. And this Mightyena actually looks mighty clean. See what I did there, chat? But yeah, this Mightyena looks actually... This is honestly the first time I've ever seen this Mightyena in person. It looks really nice, to be honest with you. Super cool. But yeah, nothing bad. I haven't really seen any scratches, so fingers crossed. I can't remember. I picked these up on Sunday, so I can't really remember what the back looked like, but I remember this card being pretty clean. And so, again, really all I'm doing is just kind of double checking, making sure everything's good on the front, and it does look like it is. So, and the back. So the back does have a little bit of whitening there on that top right, so we got that going against us. Hey, Darian, how's it going? Over on YouTube. What is going on, my friend? And got rid of that, so that's always good. That top left corner looking good. Let's see. Yeah, a little bit of whiting down there. Sounds good, yo. I appreciate it very much. So that part's pretty good. Yeah, just those two bits of whitening, or the three. There's a little bit there, but not nearly as bad as the top right and the bottom left, so. Yeah, I'd have to see. I'd have to see what this is as, because it looks like it's pretty well centered on the back. It's just really those two little white dots, because the front is actually really good shape. I don't see any scratches. I'd probably assess this as a 9, to be quite honest with you. So I'd have to see. I have no idea how much this is in a 9, so we'll have to set that aside. You have mod? Because the other one I saw that you had the mod symbol. I wish you were a PSA grader. Right, Darian? Honestly, I don't, because I feel like it'd be extremely... Now, it would be kind of cool to have graders do this, but obviously their services would be extremely slow, right? They basically have to just keep their mouth shut, grade as fast as they can, which ultimately leads to certain errors, but yeah, no, I definitely appreciate that. But yeah, you'll have to let me know, UA, because I think your other account did have it. I saw the symbol, but maybe your permissions to do things are off. Just to see all the different cards. Yeah, that's what I think too, Darian. That's why I like doing these on stream so much. Like, because normally I would just be doing this not on stream. And so it's kind of nice to be able to kind of show you guys pretty much exactly what I would be doing not on stream. So, and this is pretty much it. I'm just like looking at some cards. Mostly Umbreon, right? I don't have no Umbreons in this stack, I don't think, but we still have some pretty good ones. We got an Eevee in there. We got a good range. We haven't even hit like the mother load yet, which is kind of crazy. But these energy cards are super cool. I always like the look of these. And it's funny, the person that collected these, some of the or the collection I purchased this from, Some of them are side-loaded, and then some of them are on the bottom. So I'm like trying to figure out which sleeves are which. And they're all like super tight fit sleeves too, so they're kind of difficult to cleanly push out without damaging them. But the centering, this card looks crazy. Celebi in the background from Play Pokemon, so that's always cool. This card's actually in really good shape, chat, to be quite honest with you. Like I don't see anything wrong on the at least on the back. This one might be the first gradable card. And so this is really kind of like to be honest, unless we see something in here. What's your favorite Pokemon? Darian, I'll give you both answers. So I'll give you the basic Eevee answer, and I'll give you the if I can't pick one. So my favorite Pokemon ever is Jolteon. But if I could not select a evolution, it would have to be Victreebel. Thank you for the likes over on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. And on TikTok. Can we get to 2K on TikTok, chat? If we get to 2K, I'll tell you what deck I'm currently playing on Pokemon Pocket. And man, chat, we are in currently some dark times in Pokemon Pocket right now. If you guys have been playing online and have hit the drag, Darkrai and Greninja, that thing is probably the most toxic deck I have ever played against and probably have seen in a very long time. You have to have something that attacks the bench, or you are just going to be cooked alive. Or just have something that has a significant amount of HP and a significant amount of swing power. Like a Palkia, or Gyarados, or Dialga, or... Crazy. How much did you pay for your machine? Are you talking about the Tomloft? So this was, I think, was around like 140. I bought it on Black Friday like years ago. Yeah, Darian, I feel you on that. I love the Blaine builds, man. Blaine builds are like it's like a super cool budget deck. Got a little bit of some dirt on that P there. There we go. Yeah, it's super nice, Bib. If you look at cards a lot, it's definitely for sure an investment. And we got 2K. All right, guys. So the deck that I've been running, and I'm telling you, right now, especially with that toxic Darkrai deck going around, where the Darkrai sits on the bench and just picks at you for damage, and then waits for you to damage yourself on the drag with the Rocky Helmet. I've been running the two Execute, right? So Darkrai is weak against grass, for those, I'm sure most of you who play the game know. But Darkrai is weak to grass. So what I've been playing is I've been playing the Execute that farms the energy. Been playing two of that. I've been playing two Executor EX because it's 160, so really big tanky pool, and then 80, like a coin flip 40 or 80, so really good damage either way. I have been playing two of the Celebi EX because Celebi EX is just good grass in general. But the other tech that I've been playing is the two new Shaman. So its ability, you can heal all your Pokemon for 10 HP. And if you have two of them, which I run to, you can have it up to 20 HP per turn. So you kind of negate Rocky Helmet, you negate the Darkrai. It's really nice. And it comes up more often than you can think of. The two Research, two Pokeball, standard, two Erica. Because again, I think grass types right now are in a really good position because they have a trainer that heals so aggressively. So I have two Erica. I have two Rocky Helmet because putting the Rocky Helmet on the Executor EX is super nice because it's already tanky as it is. And it's a pretty big wall. and you basically just have them try to chip at your Executor while you're putting out 40 to 80 damage per turn. And then the more they take on the Rocky Helmet, the higher your ratios get for the coin flips. So I run 2 Rocky Helmet. I play one Sabrina and then 1 Cyrus, because Sabrina's good in early game to switch off, and then Cyrus is good late game if they switch off of the Executor. And then I run 2 X-Speed, so if I ever have a Celebi, if I lead with the Celebi or lead with the Shaman or anything like that, or just to try to switch out a little bit more, I just have those because energy is key. And so I do not run any, I don't run the superior line, because I think with how fast the game is right now and like how fast you really need to get going, I think sometimes it can be a little bit cloggy. And if you just need the 1 energy for the Executor, I think you start to stack up enough energy to where you're already kind of in a good position, in my opinion. So that is my deck list. I think if I'm missing any cards, I can't remember. But I think that was 20. That was all from memory. And I think I'm going to probably try to submit this, because it's well centered. I don't see anything significantly wrong. I'm just trying to like really do like a shine test to see if I see any like hidden scratches or anything like that. A bit of fuzz I just wiped off. But it looks incredibly clean, chat. I really am not seeing much, so I'll probably try to submit that to try to get the potential 10. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm correct or not. Just make sure I'm not missing anything, because you guys are going to come back and it's like, he has all the tools and he still can't even guess it right. So that is going to be in the grade. Because I think for energies too, like for these ones specifically, they're more of like a collector piece, because they're from like the play Pokemon. Like no one's really playing with those. I have Unlimited Shining Gyarados that has dirt specks on the back and front. Hard to wipe off. Help. Well, if they're hard to wipe off, one thing that I could probably recommend would be to, I mean, I think you've seen, well, let me ask you this before I start assuming. Have you seen the cleaning streams that I've done in the past with like the Q-tip and all that? Because I just need to know where to start to explain. See, here's another one. Here's one of these side-loaded ones. I don't know. Do you guys like these side-loaded sleeves? I don't. I can tell you that right now. Because sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. I don't know. But let's see. Briefly. So I would say, you know, with the dirt, you're gonna want to. It's a little. I don't know, chat. Might have to measure that one. I'll have to put that in the sleeve real quick and do a quick measure. Are they up on your YouTube? Yes, they are. With different examples as well. Like all the cleaning that I have done, all are on YouTube. In like past VODs or clips or anything like that, so. But I'd say ultimately, like, I'd say if you have a Q-tip and some distilled water, those are probably your biggest starting points for sure. Alright, so right now I'm just measuring the top here, chat. So this top, just to kind of get perspective, is just over. So I'm looking at that dash line, so you can guys see as it's exceeding that dash line. So we're at, like, a little bit past 2. So if we do the same thing on the bottom. So you guys see that we're right just shy, or right on that 2 line. So it's like 2.5. I think that's on the sleeve. And you kind of see on this right side. So we got. Sorry, I gotta really push it on the card, chat, because if I don't, you guys are just gonna see a shadow the entire time. So that's on the 2 line on the right side. And on the left, the left is just shy of the 2 line. So it's thicker on the top and the right than it is on the left and the bottom. I don't know why. I don't know what I was saying right there. Respectively. There we go. Drink some coffee after that one. Yeah, probably wouldn't submit this because of that little centering on the top and on the right. But again, still pretty clean. So we will be putting that in because this one has definitely gone up. And I'm kind of like a broken record. Most of them are going to be going up with how insane the hobby is getting. And hopefully you guys have been able to kind of navigate it a little bit. You know, because this stuff does get pretty frustrating for collectors. So that's why I like to tend to stick with singles specifically. Because if someone is really just kind of fed up with trying to buy packs to pull a chase, you can just kind of not really save your money, because it's just like, man, you can't even find it to begin with to try to pull it on your own. So that's pretty much it. AJ, how's it going, man? My man is eating in Pokemon Pocket. Your Lickitung, man, has been popping off. I don't know if you saw that in Pokemon Pocket, but Lickitung and Licky Licky EX is going bananas. That card is insane. So hopefully all is well. It's been a minute. Let's take a look at this Guzma. Looks pretty good. Front looks good. Man, that back looks clean, chat. Look at that. I was doing a quick shine test off camera. Let me actually put it up so you guys can see it. That is a pretty clean card. If I can put it in to where you guys can see it. I'm like watching my monitor to see if I put it in frame. There we go. The back looking good. And the front is also looking very good. I don't even have to do anything. Makes my job easy. I'll probably submit that as well. So that's a good one. The Guzma. But how are things, AJ? Hopefully things have been going well with you and the fam. Hopefully you've been able to make heads or tails of how crazy the market's getting. All right, now we're starting to get to some of the bigger hits of this collection pickup. The Gardevoir EX. So let's take a look at this one. So the front looks well centered. So that's good. And the back looking good, chat. Back is looking good. Pretty well centered. Yeah, I'm trying not to even do anything weird with it on my own. But that back looking pretty good, as well as that front. So I'm just trying to look right now, because you really can't see it on the microscope as I'm just looking at the edges. But yeah, this one I think is also grade worthy. So far we're getting pretty lucky. We have at least 3 that are grade worthy so far, as what I think would probably get a 10. So we'll see in 10 years if I'm actually correct. And that, we'll see how so many birthdays will pass, and PSA will, who knows what will happen. But so far we got 3 potential grade plays, so that's always good. Next up is the Magikarp. Again, I don't know if these are bottom loaded or side loaded. It's getting pretty ridiculous. So let's take a look at the fish. Which, if you don't know, the Gyarados is in the background. You guys have never seen or noticed the Gyarados in the background before. But very, very clean. Centering on the front, looking good. And I think there is some too much whitening on the back. Too bad, so sad. Because what I'm looking at I don't know if that is off the card or not. So I don't feel anything. At least I don't think so. Yep. Not feeling anything on there, so that's actually removed. So the corner I was seeing was that top left corner. You kind of see right there. And then where was the other one? It was the bottom right. So the bottom right is right there. So those two bits of whitening, in addition to that one right there that's actually removed from the card itself, probably would not get that 10. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, chat. But still, pretty minty. So that's always good. That's what we want. We want minty carps in this chat. No more, no less. Well, we'd want more, because more would be grade worthy. But it is not. I actually sold this back in October or November, so it's always good to have another raw copy on hand for the big fish. I think, let's see. I need like a little, need a mascot. I need a Tyranitar right now as the microscope mascot. All right, so next up. So again, another sealed promo. So these I always try to look ahead of time to see if it's even worth opening out of the cello pack. And this one, let's see, a little bit of whitening there on this. Let's see if I can show you guys a little bit of whitening. I'm putting it right in his mouth. The whitening is near his mouth. You probably can't see it. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But that one I probably just keep sealed, to be honest. And that way someone can know for a fact that it is still sealed, and I'll just sell it basically as near mint. No harm, no foul there. Right next to the other sealed promo that we looked at. If you guys have ever seen the Game Boy exclusive Meowth. If you guys have ever seen that promo before. I know I have a wide range of ages here. So let's see, is it bottom loaded or side loaded? Let's see, chat. It is bottom loaded. The question is, will it come out without me damaging the card? Man, these tight fit sleeves, man. I used to love them prior to being like doing this as a side business, but man, I do not like them now. They're so hard to get out. No scratches from what I can tell. So far, so good. Centering's a little bit thicker on the bottom than the top. And we do have a little bit of whitening on, and I gotta move the mascot for a second. So there is some whitening on the top right here. So that right there is most likely going to prevent it from getting the 10, so we will just sell it as raw. Probably wouldn't be grading this, but an excellent condition Pikachu nonetheless from 151. So that's always good. floater. And then another sealed. Got the Mew, but the problem with this one, it's got that stupid code card in the back. But the front looks pretty well centered. But my luck would say that if I remove that, and I'm trying to just like look on the as much as I can. I have a bunch of cards that are perfect with corners and everything. But the more I shine the card, the more I see some faint scratches on the back. Yeah, sometimes that'll happen too, Trainer. If you're like really looking at a card under like harsh light, sometimes like if they're faint enough from what I've seen, they might not be deducted from your surface score if they really need to shine a light on it. You know what I mean? But that's merely speculation, though, to be quite honest with you, because like you're really looking at that under a microscope, and it's like you can only see it when you're really shining a light. So I really don't know. But all right, let's see. Let's see if this Eevee is good. It doesn't look like there's any scratches on the front. Centering on the front looks really good. And the back looks pretty good. Trying to see, there's just a little bit of fuzz there on the back I just removed, but the corners are pretty good. The back's pretty good. That might be a worthy submission. I'm just looking at it in one more angle here. And there might be something that is preventing it, which is like the tiniest bend, but I don't know. Because when I'm looking, I don't even know if it'll come up on stream, but what I'm looking at is right here. So right where the tip of this like orange tip is, a little bit of like a lift there, like very, very small. But I don't know. Other than that, it's pretty clean. This might be a gambler's 10, to be honest with you, chat. It's one of those things where it's like, if they see it, might get deducted. But if they don't, then this looks pretty good. Both on the front and the back, but this one might be a gambler. But probably not. Probably not. Anytime I gamble, doesn't work out in my favor. So probably sell that as near mint. Go about our day. I bet you won't. You know what? I'd take that bet. And say that you would be right. I definitely wouldn't. Because my luck would probably not be that good. This one, I think, was pretty beat up. I'm not going to lie to you. This one I bought as heavy play. And I'll show you why I thought it was heavy play. The copycat. And there's actually some stuff that we can clean off this, chat. So if you haven't seen it before, you're about to see me clean this copycat. Because, where was it? I think it was on the back more than the front. But the bottom right corner of this copycat was pretty rough. You see you can even see it from here. All those like deep scratches on the bottom there. It's like a dog chewed on it. But it's intact. But I definitely did not buy it at mod, light, or near mint. I can tell you that. Does PSA use a microscope, or do they pick the card up and shine it weird and stuff? My guess is that, like, obviously I don't work for PSA. But I would imagine that they use a microscope only just for the sake of eye fatigue. Because if they're looking, if you're an employee looking at thousands of cards a day, your eyes are going to get really tired if you're just looking at it with your eyeballs. Versus if you're using like a microscope or something like that, you're going to be able to kind of treat more of that eye fatigue. So yeah, I don't know if they use like this specific maker model, you know, I don't know that, but my gut says that they use a microscope to some degree. And right now I'm kind of just blasting this back of this card. There's just dirt all over it. You can kind of see some of these dirt marks kind of going away too. You'll see a lot here by this Pokeball. So if you've never seen this process before, you are about to see it. Like the exact reason why I do this. So like this E, for example, you have 1, 2, 3 bits of dirt. And so all I'm doing is just like with just some distilled water, just kind of wiping those away. And granted, you know, the card's pretty beat, but this is a really good example of a card that would be good to test these techniques on, because I already know it. I bought it at Heavy Play. And it was honestly a good purchase to kind of show on stream, which I'm glad I'm doing right now. So all these bits of dirt, try to attack them at different angles, but you can kind of see like these ones right here by the Pokeball. It literally just kind of gets lifted right off. And I probably even need a new Q-tip. What is that? Just Q-tip, or you got something on it? Well, I do have some distilled water on it. So that's currently what I'm using right now. But it's pretty crazy, huh? That dirt just comes right off. But again, if you guys submit your cards and you leave that stuff on there, it's definitely going to deduct against your score for a PSA grade. Or anyone. If you use BGS, CGC, like any of the big three, they will deduct from the surface score if you leave that stuff untreated. So like all these little black dots right here, where I'm kind of highlighting with my Q-tip here, all of that would be gone against you. But all I'm doing is just gently wiping them away. And now it's one less thing that PSA, in this instance, can dock from you. So that's why I do it. Just like that, it's all gone. Like this one, look at that big one. Look at that big boy. Honestly, Trainer, I think that's what I looked up online on Amazon, to be quite honest with you. I just looked up pointy Q-tips. Like, look at that piece of dirt, just instantly gone. It definitely works, man. I mean, granted, like I said, this card is still going to be in heavy play condition, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's something cool to show you guys, and when someone picks up this card, they now know that there's not just complete dirt all over it. You know what I mean? It's nice. It's nice to not sell just straight dirty cards. They might be scratched, but they're not going to be dirty. Like this one right here. See that little black speck to the tip of my Q-tip right there? Let's see if I can get rid of that. And just like that, she's gone. Got some on the edge there too. But as we get closer to the edge, you always got to be careful. You don't want to approach this from the outside in, because you don't want to cause any more whitening than that is already present on the card. And that was a little bit stubborn, so we're actually going to take the dry end and see if we can get rid of it that way, and we did, which is nice. See, Chad, I'm not just a guy that yaps and doesn't back it up. Alright. Does Kurtz help with those faint scratches lines? Are hard to see unless I shine the right way. Trainer, what I normally say when people bring up Kurtz is I only do things that address things that are added onto a card, like dirt, debris, fingerprints, stuff like that, because these aren't considered alterations, whereas something like card wax or chemicals or pen marks to fill in like white spots or whatever, those are techniques that add something to the card, which would result in it being marked as altered. Now, the follow-up that a lot of people ask me is, well, they didn't catch me doing it. It's like, yeah, well, sometimes you'll get away with it, but sometimes you won't. And if I do this as a business, I just simply don't use it, because I grade cards and I don't want to have my submissions get denied, or like if I do it too many times, they prevent me from outright grading with them entirely. So that's why I personally don't do it. But I think it's a really good idea to use things like Kurt's Card Care for your personal collection. If you have like old vintage holos that you had as a kid and they're like really beat up and really scratched and you just want to kind of bring some more life back into them, I think it's a excellent opportunity to do so by using things like that, in my opinion. But yeah. All right, last but certainly not least, the Dragonite V from Evolving Skies. Let's take a look. Let's see, side loaded or bottom loaded? Probably bottom loaded, and it is. So let's take a look. Centering looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the back. And the back also looks very good, chat. So this one might be a good 10 contender, but there's a little bit of white that we have to remove off the back. If I can see where it was, it's right here. There we go. Beautiful. Yeah, there's really not much I need to do with this one. Yes, trainer. That would be one example. I know a bunch of other companies do it, so that's why I don't want to ever call out a company specifically. But Kurt's Card Care is one of the companies that uses or provides wax in their kits. But yeah, this is a very, very clean Dragonite, to be quite honest with you. And there is a little bit more on here on this side. Let's see if I can get that off there. There we go. A little bit of white stuck on in the texture there, so the fact that we're able to get rid of that is good. I mean, if you're talking, like I said, if you're talking from a grading perspective, I personally don't use wax. But if you're talking about it from a non-grading perspective, I mean, you can use it on the front, back. I mean, I don't really know much about like how to use that product because I just have never been interested in using it. So honestly, like depending on what company, you'll just have to kind of read more of their kind of like FAQs, I guess, to be quite honest with you. All right. So that is the collection that we picked up. So let's kind of review that real quick. So first we'll go over the cards that I don't think are going to be grade worthy, but there's only one card out of this whole thing that I think was in not so good shape, which was, we'll just start right with it because it's the only one. So the Copycat. So the Copycat was assessed as heavy play. And so we got the Altaria EX. Again, the rest of these cards were all in near mint condition, so super nice. The Altaria, the Pikachu from Crown Zenith, the Shining Mew, super nice. I think the problem with this one is more of just off-center than anything. The Eevee, there's a little bit of whitening, like weird white stuff on the back that I wasn't too sure about. The Pikachu, the Tyranitar V, this one was pretty off-center, so that one wasn't worth it. The Magikarp had some whitening. The Ghastly was centering issues. The Mightyena was so close, but it had some whitening on the back. The Silvally GX, very well centered, but I think there was some stuff on the back, I believe. Maybe QV centering issues. Radiant EV definitely centering issues on that one, from the top to the bottom. Mew, think the same thing. Raichu, I think, had centering and a little bit of whitening, but was pretty close. And then we get that. So the other ones that were not gradable, we haven't done that yet, was the promo. So all three of these, so the Mew EX, the Meowth, the Game Boy promo, and the Mewtwo are both in their all in their cello packets still. So I'll just kind of leave these in here. I don't think these would get the 10, just based off of what I could see through the cello pack. There was some whitening on most of them. So we're just going to kind of leave those be and just let people know that, you know, I'm basically just selling it as raw, but I always like to kind of keep it in there. But these are the ones that I think are actually going to be good grading plays for me that I'm going to be submitting. So the Dragonite V was very well centered. I think this was going to get the 10. The Gardevoir EX I also think is going to get the 10. The Guzma I also think is a 10. And Energy, I'm kind of on the fence on this one between a 9 and a 10. But I think it's kind of very close to where I'm kind of willing to roll the dice a little bit on this one because I already submitted a Psychic Energy from this set to PSA. It's still getting graded, but I wanted to submit that. But I think these 4 in particular are good good attempts at a PSA 10 submission. So I'll have those kind of probably go out on its own. And the rest will just be inventoried and sold as raw. So that's it for that. So we got a lot of nice, good cards there. So I think what I'm going to be doing now, and it's definitely way too boring for stream, is going to be doing some price calculations and price updates. So if you guys are looking at some cards, have you had any 10s with the cards with faint surface scratches? I haven't had any that I've been like, oh, I see them on the back, but I'm still going to submit. I can't recall any that have kind of hit that criteria, if that makes sense. So I'm reluctant to say yes or no because I truthfully can't recall an instance where I have done that, to be honest. So I don't want to lie to you. But most likely, if you really have to shine it and nothing else is wrong with the card, I would probably submit it. But I think you are aware because I've seen you before. If you haven't already, we have that grade review channel in our Discord to submit if you want a second opinion. But again, you know, depending on if you're trying to get it submitted fast, there is a bit of a queue. So. But yeah, next stream, I got some other stuff I got to do behind the scenes, so I'm going to be wrapping it up. So next stream is going to be this Wednesday. I think it's episode 53 of Grade Review. So I do that at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys want a more in-depth analysis on what to look for when grading cards, I'm going to be looking at community members' cards on Wednesday, starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I appreciate all the love and support and all the chats, the follows, the shares, all that fun stuff. You guys, as always, are the best, and I will see you on Wednesday. Peace, chat.